Hello, welcome to my channel, Compass Starlight. Today, it's the full moon. I have 3 decks of cards here. Wisdom of Nature for the Oracle card. The Tarot deck is Tarot of the Divine, and I have the Archetype deck, which is the Mentagna Tarot, and we'll see how this goes. I still haven't done much for lighting in here. So what can I say? I'm going to tell you that if Lifesavers brand made gummy candies that were all butterscotch, I would eat a bag a day. It's the truth. And that actually makes me think there's a phrase, eat a bag of dicks. There's a company that actually makes gummy candy in the shape of. You can send a bag to an individual or to a business anonymously. I would totally eat a bag of dicks a day if they came in Lifesavers butterscotch flavor. What can I say? I think I'm addicted to sugar. I should probably fast. I'm wearing it. Am I wearing it well? I don't know. Sugar. There's one thing, like a New Year's resolution, I had to give that up this year. That would make sense. What else? Oh, yeah. Mars and Cancer. How did that go? How does that go? I threw some things. I cried. Some frustration. I learned something, which was a lesson that I was shown back in May and suffered through in June and part of July. What's the lesson? The lesson is that no matter how much money you have, if you don't have access to it, it's useless. So, if you ever watch tarot readings videos by Baba Jolie, sometimes she brings up what she sees for world events, and as well, I think I need to clear out my throat chakra, things to do with money. And she always says, like, I don't know anything about the market, I don't know anything about this or that, do your own research. But it's definitely come up a few times. So this is to say that you can have money in your bank account and your bank card doesn't work. You can't get your money, really. You can't spend it like you normally would if there were some system failure. You know, the system that shows that you have money in your account, the internet, and it fails. There's no way to verify that you have those funds, and it's virtually useless. So you can have paper money, and paper money goes up in flames, it burns. Coins are good. It's just a thought, a seed to plant that it could be good to have some money on hand. Because what else can you do for trade or barter if you don't have access to something of value? Yep. What else? Full moon energy right now. I am recording under the full moon. Something about emotional components to relationships. Like it's an essential component to a relationship. And if it's non-existent, that relationship really can't grow or flourish. And I think along those lines, a song came to mind. No, this one was hiding from me. It's called Green Glass, and it's by Ed's Redeeming Qualities. There's a line in there. I had to write it down. I know it, but I have to write it down because I'd forget in front of the camera. And forever and before long, amid Bergies and bourbon, she says, is there something between talk and sex? A place between obsession and apathy? And he says, I know a place like that. It's 216 Center Street, apartment D12. It's up to you. Yeah, it's a good song. Has redeeming qualities. There's, who's in that? I can't think of her name right now, but she's in the Breeders. This is a Boston-formed band in the late 80s that performed, I think, until 2010, perhaps. But yeah, a place between talk and sex. Like, what do you have if you don't have the physical component? Do you have things in common with the people with whom you partner? And that could be said in any relationship, because relationships are not always intimate or sexual. What else? What else? What else do I have to say? What else? 216 Center Street, apartment D12. Yeah. So I moved. This is my new place. not fully set up yet, but I've lived here before, right here. Yep. And this particular place had a different street address the last time I lived here. It was like, there are several units in the building. So there's one that had the main address, and then all the other units were like 3A, such and such a street, number, blah, blah, blah. And when it was sold and remodeled, the owner changed the address, thankfully, because it was just ridiculous the way it was before. And now my address is 3 such and such street, unit D. And so when I changed my address at the post office, I had an opportunity to change my voter registration because, hey, I live in the United States. And I just received my letter a couple hours ago verifying that I had changed my address and that I am indeed a registered voter, right? And my address per the city is 3D, such and such street, which I thought was kind of interesting, that this particular place, this space I am in now, I think I am meant to focus on the 3D. So I'm gonna have to switch over to my reading glasses pretty soon, and I'm probably gonna turn the camera onto the cards. Let me just pull one or two of these oracle cards from, sorry about the noise, those are the cats going crazy. The Wisdom of Nature, they're big cards. Let's see, what is the oracle to go with this reading? Maybe I have to go this way because I can't read what's on them. Oh my goodness. Oh, it's not it either. Very large and awkward. There we have one. Let me see if I can get one more. That one was looking at me earlier too. Granite rocks. Seems like a solid foundation. What else can I see on the table? Mercury, turquoise score, rhetoric, 9 of cups, Knight of wands, the chariot, 9 of swords, and 3 of swords. One more oracle card, please. Thank you. The giant star, Aldebaran. Alright, I am going, oops, sorry about that loud noise. Change up the glasses here, and I'm going to switch the view onto the cards. Just a moment. So to start off with the archetype cards, we have Mercury, which is card number 42, Terpsichore, card number 13, and Rhetoric, card number 23. Mercury is the archetype of sociability, the importance to pay attention to all messages. Yep, that means everything. That's like the messages that come through in songs, the subliminal messages, the cues, the numbers, the repetitive patterns you see, that you hear, names, places. Very interesting. But this is also to go back over messages, correspondence, read things you may have missed, understand things from a different point of view. This is also a way to alchemize energy, but here we have there's a head at his feet. In some ways, bringing the dead to life, even though it is cast in stone, like the word is cast in stone. You can relive conversations. You can relive correspondence and exchanges. It's not healthy to dwell in the past, but sometimes it is important to go back over, reread journals you may have written a long time ago, for example, to see how much you've grown, or to see things from a different perspective based on the wisdom that you now have. There's also a chicken or rooster here, and this can be a depiction or a representation of fertility. So this is to say that by revisiting something, you may open a door to new growth, or to birthing something new based on information that you've gained from past experiences, wisdom that you've gained, lessons learned. The next card we have is Terpsichore, card number 13. Terpsichore is the archetype for nimbleness, dance with everyone to understand them better. And we saw this card in the last reading. This is the ability to be grounded, to understand the phases in life, the cycle of life, to be balanced as the calm waters, be balanced in emotion, and to harmonize the air. Blue is also a color of protection. What's missing here is fire, which we may see with rhetoric. She does have fiery red hair. I don't know if that's enough to be considered fully balanced. But how do we understand others? How do we communicate with others? How can we put ourselves in someone else's shoes? How can we attempt to understand another perspective, or the perspective of another individual? Following Terpsichore, we have rhetoric. This is card number 23. Rhetoric is the archetype for discussion. Sincere dialogue leads to a shared truth. Very interesting that all of these archetype cards are touching on elements of communication, trying to view another's perspective. Truth we see here, she is wielding the sword of truth, and we have the two cherubs at her feet heralding truth, bringing in the truth. So by going over some messages, we may be able to read between the lines or decipher truths that we were not willing to face in the past, which is interesting. I want to look at these oracle cards here. This first one is Granite Rocks, Symbol of Perspective. Wow, this reading is really surprising me with how much in alignment it is. The characteristic red granite rocks on the Isle of Mull off Scotland's Atlantic coast were formed around 430 million years ago during the Silurian period. At that time, they were part of the Laurentia continent, along with much of what is now North America and Greenland. The rocks were created when immensely heated lava, welling up from the core of the earth, emerged and melded with other ferrous material. Granite rocks are extremely hard, but millions of years of rain, wind, and ice, expanding in tiny fissures, have eroded them. The timescales are wildly out of proportion to human life. A crack in the surface opens a few millimeters in a decade. Lichen eats away at the surface with a gentleness that takes centuries to notice. Each winter storm brings a minute change, lost to the human eye. I just want to pause right there for a moment. Each winter storm brings a minute change. Perhaps it's a call to reflect on changes that we may be currently experiencing, and reflect upon how we are adapting to such changes. Are you noticing them? Every bump in the road forces us to change a little bit, adapt. Everything that preoccupies us will fall away. The issues that bother us will become remote and be forgotten. When we are dead, the rocks will still be here, more or less exactly the same. Granite rocks invite us into a mood that lessens our fears. In their company, we are, fortunately, negligible. From their point of view, how we mess up, how we fail, our confusions and errors, what we do or don't do, are not important at all, much to our relief. And just in case you needed a reminder that you are small. Okay, the next one is the giant star, Aldebaran, symbol of humility. Okay, still in alignment here. The giant star of Aldebaran, the name derives from the Arabic word for a follower, since it appears to follow a cluster of stars known as the Hyades. It can sometimes be seen in the evening sky as a tiny, brightish dot, not far above the horizon. Aldebaran could contain the equivalent of 2 million examples of our sun. It is a giant star, late on in its life cycle, emitting a reddish-orange light that takes 65 years to reach Earth. The Pioneer 10 space probe, launched from Cape Canaveral in 1972, now more than 10 billion miles from Earth, is expected to arrive in the vicinity of Aldebaran in 15,000 centuries' time. Wow. Despite the distance, Aldebaran is a near neighbor in our local spiral galaxy, itself one of 100 billion galaxies that populate the cosmos. Again, we are small. Contemplating the insignificance of our world in the unimaginable vastness of space is a powerfully humbling thought. In this solemn and liberating mood, the problems that loom large in our minds appear comically absurd. So true. If only briefly our minds mingle with the universe and embrace eternity. It can seem as if everything we do matters so much. However, with Aldebaran, we listen to a different, more humbling message. Everything we do and are is meaningless when considered from a sufficient distance. We can meditate on the insignificance when measured against aeons of time and space. We do not really matter. In a quiet, not unkind way, our life is an inconsequential blip. I mean, to be fair, they're good reminders to us for when we feel like we've made mistakes, miscommunications, for example. Who's judging? In this whole universe, and every human being is fallible. But in the grand scheme of the cosmos, none of it really matters much. So why are you so hard on yourself? Well, what do we have here? 9 of Cups. Oh, feeling satiated, happy, feeling joyous, reaching for our goals, emotional fulfillment. Knight of Wands, quick action, swift movement. A message, in and out behavior. Brief communication. Brief encounters. A little bit wild and fiery, hot. The Chariot, moving forward in a balanced fashion. But wait. The 9 of Swords, sleepless nights caught up in our heads with thoughts milling about, reliving regrettable scenarios, circumstances, events. Why do that? Why torture yourself? You won't be able to sleep. And 3 of Swords, heartbreak. Very interesting. Who wants to be brokenhearted? Who wants to live in heartache? That's what we get if we focus on our misdeeds, on our errors, on regrettable actions and conversations. That's the way to live. I feel like this is backwards, that we should be moving forward away from these things towards the Knight of Wands and the 9 of Cups. As just to say, enters stage right, this charming, fiery knight that will bring heartache or that will bring happiness, emotional fulfillment. I'm afraid I'm going to have to get some kind of clarifier here because it just seems backwards to me. I'd like to read it that way, but that's wishful thinking. You would think with balance, you'd be able to avoid the 3 of Swords with truth, right? Because even though the truth hurts, the truth is still your best friend, because when you know the truth, you can depart from unfortunate situations. Lickety split. Let me see here. I'm going to get my little Visconti tarot deck that I like to use for clarification. Going in. I'm going to have to sit right side up. Pretty much. So, how can we avoid the 3 of Swords, heartbreak? It's like a quarter of the deck. Excuse me. How can we avoid heartbreak? Strength. Walking away from that which does not serve us. And communication. Interesting. So strength is card number 11, and then we have 2 8s. The 8 of Swords and the 8 of Cups. Interesting. Oh, okay. I mean, I honestly, I can see myself in this. I could. I've just been spending time with somebody who says things like, you know what you should do? And I'm like, yeah, I know what I should do. I trust my own judgment. I trust my intuition. But I'm going to be told what you think I should do anyway. And it drives me nuts. It's like a control tactic. And I have to put my foot down, right? I have the strength to do that, to walk away. I feel bad. I don't want to hurt somebody's feelings when I walk away, right? But ultimately it's the best thing for me, because what happens if I try to foster this friendship, I try to foster it into a relationship, it's really not going to serve me. So the Swords are thoughts, ideas, communication. When I communicate how I feel, it might rub somebody the wrong way, but I still have to stand up for myself and express how I feel to prevent the experience. of a broken heart down the road. Does that make sense? Just an example. How about that Nine of Swords? Clarify that Nine of Swords. What do we see here in the full moon energy? What would like to be revealed to us? What is keeping us up at night? What kind of thoughts we are going over in our heads that we should put to rest? Any clarification on the Nine of Swords? Oh, it just kind of had fallen into my hand. Let's see. Anything else for the Nine of Swords? There we go. Why are you face down? You don't want to reveal? Five of Swords. What is this? And the Empress. The Empress. Yeah, exactly. The Empress, whether you're male or female, the Empress is a pillar of strength and independence, regardless of your gender, your sex, your gender identity. When you embody the Empress, you are strong, just as the Strength card indicates. Strong enough to stand your ground, to back up your opinions, to have conviction over your feelings, your desires, your direction. The Five of Swords indicates deceit, perhaps someone trying to take advantage of a situation, and you feel conflicted. Don't forget who you are. You have the strength of the Empress. You know who you are, what you will stand for, and what not. And in alignment with the last reading, there was a part of it at least, about having your boundaries, expressing them, standing up for yourself, standing behind your beliefs, your personal stance, and expressing it so that people knew where your boundaries were. There's no question. This is that Empress. So if you find somebody trying to take advantage of you, advantage of your kindness, because the Empress can be very kind, but she also has to look out for all the people, not just one individual. What about this Nine of Cups and the Knight of Wands? Let's show me the Nine of Cups. We have the Nine of Swords again, and the Star. This is okay. Yeah, all right, show me the Knight of Wands. Mysterious waking out. Okay. Show me the Knight of Wands. Who's the Knight of Wands? Two of Coins. Five of Cups. Five of Cups. Oh. And the Knight of Wands. Wow. Yeah. And so this Nine of Cups. What was that? This Nine of Cups is what we hope for. That feeling of emotional satisfaction that you can experience when your dreams are fulfilled, when you fall in love, for example. But this could also be falling in love with your home. You move somewhere, you buy a house, and you just love where you've moved. This could be a new job. It could be something that just really makes you feel good. You feel like you're on top of the world, as you should be as the Empress, right? This is having your dreams come true with the stars. But the Nine of Swords is like the ruminating thoughts. Will I ever get there? Why do you question that? Because you feel like people are taking advantage of you? Don't let them take advantage of you. You have the strength to put up your guard and walk away, right? What do we have? We have two coins here. A choice, balance. What do we have? Knight of Wands and the Knight of Wands and the Five of Cups. It's like the choices that you're faced with right now might not make you very happy. What are your options? Something that doesn't make you feel very good? Seems like passionate and enthusiastic in the beginning, but then it's just lost, gone. Or something else that's really passionate, exciting, but it's not going to stay either. Those are your options. Maybe you see that in present people or circumstances, because with the Five of Cups, you've got two spilled cups and you get three spilled cups and two behind you don't even see, and you're focusing on the spilled cups. If you spend too much time in your head thinking about past experiences with one person that did you wrong, and you're thinking about the past and how people do you wrong, you're not going to see the beauty of the individual that can bring you, that is your star, that is your wish, that is your dream come true. Because you're going to see that person in the same light as the Knight of Wands. Same thing. What was it they would say? There's some kind of saying about when you see people a certain way, they will live up to your expectations. So this goes back to how I was thinking that these cards were backwards. If you see people a certain way, they will live up to your expectation. You don't want to move in that direction of broken heart. You want to move in the direction of wish fulfillment. Change your perspective. This whole thing was about perspective, right? These oracle cards, you're very small. In the grand scheme of things, it's a matter of perspective. And these 3 cards, we're talking about looking back at the past and your experiences, but changing your perspective, trying to see a new perspective. Wow. That's some serious truth these cards are putting out tonight with this full moon. Let me get a couple more cards on this. It's going to be a long video. I'll have to speed it up though. Fast forward, high speed, so you can get through it quickly. Give me one more card, please, for what we can expect for the week ahead. Next 4 to 7, 8 days. That's too many? Alright, fine. We have the 4 of Cups. The 4 of Pentacles. Holding on to certain values. Perhaps values which we should let go. We have the Queen of Swords, facing the truth. We have the Devil, facing the truth. It is the devil. We got to break certain patterns and cycles. Yes, that pattern of using and the Hangman. Okay, this is changing your perspective. Again, this reading is just jam-packed full of perspective. 4 of Cups, the 4 of Pentacles. Holding on too tightly to certain values, things that we value. We need to let go. The values that appear to be held on to are this sort of repetitive negative cycle of seeing in future potential home, job, lover, negative attributes that we have experienced in the past. And the only way to get out of that and have a different choice is to change your perspective. Hey, you guys, knock it off. Change your perspective. The Hanged Man. And that's the reading. Thank you so much for coming to Compass Starlight. This was good. Change your perspective. And have a great week.